So I recently had the chance to catch A24's newest film, Aftersun, at the New York Film Festival, and I knew I had to talk about it in some capacity on here. So this might be a little short. The movie is around an hour and a half, and to be honest, it doesn't contain much until the end. There isn't much to spoil, but I won't spoil it here anyway. Basically, to start, this film has left me in a state of, I don't even know, in a state of mostly sadness. Actually, all sadness, to be honest. This film is easily the saddest film I've seen this year. It really packs a punch. But the thing is that it doesn't really hit you until after you've seen it. The film is only viewable in its entirety. But before I go into that, let me give you a brief run through on just basically what the film is. So, the film follows a young girl and her father on a trip to Turkey. It's a vacation, and literally that's all it is. The entire film is just this vacation the two of them take together for a week, and we just follow them over the course of it. And the heart of it, what makes it so beautiful, is that it's entirely unassuming. The entire thing is quiet. It's all unspoken. It's rather boring, but the thing is that it's not boring. It's boring when you're watching it for the first time. You'll think nothing's actually happening, but when it finishes after this climax that, to be honest, makes the whole film what it is, the rest of it just makes sense. It clicks. Like, there are two parts to watching this film. There's the first part where you're actually watching it, and there's the second part where you're looking back on it afterwards. And what I'll say of my experience, how I experienced it, how I processed it, is that when I was first watching it, I didn't really think much of it. When it was first starting, and all it is this literal vacation, you'll think, or I thought at least, that I knew where it was going, that it was going to be quiet until it wasn't, that there was going to be some big outburst of emotions, like a monologue spoken through tears or something that sort of acts as the emotional high point of the film. But what ends up happening is that never comes. There's no emotional high point, and I was disappointed at first. I thought I was gonna be, I thought it was gonna be more tangible, because instead I felt it was really watery. But then afterwards, after I saw it and went home and sat on it for a little, after the point where most films would fade away, Aftersun didn't. It stayed firmly in my frame of mind. I literally could not stop thinking about it, and I couldn't stop thinking about how sad it was, and it surprised me. It kind of came out of nowhere, mostly because of this really subtle facade it all has. It's really subtle, and then I started thinking about the ending, which was the saddest part of the whole film, and with that context, I started thinking about the rest of it, and every little scene, or every little moment, every unspoken emotion, or even every moment of mundanity, and I realized that it all lends itself to this unassuming poignancy that comes afterwards, and that's the whole idea of the film, this idea of mundane but meaningful. It's a film that always shows and never tells. We see the love, we see this bond through things like sunscreen. The act of applying sunscreen on someone when they forget tells us so much about these two. We have things revealed through dialogue, like simply the act of smoking a cigarette. This isn't a spoiler. We see it very early on where someone smokes a cigarette alone, and then later on we're shown that that character shouldn't have been smoking a cigarette, that it was sort of a secret. And something as small as that tells us enough. It allows the audience to connect the dots on their own. It respects, and all of this nuance sets a tone that doesn't hit until afterwards, because we're all working to connect it even after it's over. The act of applying sunscreen won't make you bat an eye when you're watching it happen, but it'll make you cry in the middle of a CVS when you spot some out of the corner of your eye a week later. And I kept thinking of this analogy, and I'll say it right now, that it feels like a hot sauce that doesn't sting until afterwards. Like, you know those hot sauces that have that little kick afterwards? That's what this film is. It's meaningless on the surface. It's like being on vacation and seeing another family on vacation. You don't really think much of it, but there are these little moments of meaning in every moment of life. Even the ones that seem mundane, they may turn out to be the most meaningful. I don't want to go into any details since it's not even out yet, but this feeling, this kick, is something that I've never had with a film before. Like, I thought I was gonna have to hold myself back from crying before I saw it based off of what I'd heard, but that's not even the point. The entire film just paints this picture of an innocent, loving relationship between this father and daughter. And yes, they do give us hints or glimpses into some darker stuff. They definitely do add context. For example, the father, Callum, definitely is dealing with some heavy stuff that's left unspoken, but the entire thing just handles these themes so maturely. It's definitely one of the most mature depictions of this subject matter in general, but yes, they definitely do give us moments of deeper clarity. We get to see some stuff that other characters might not see or something. It doesn't boast. It's never trying to prove anything to the audience. It truly feels like a glimpse into someone's memory, which is what the film is. It's a memory. It's not even a film. It's there are no film moments until the very, very end, and even then it's done so well. There's the scene where they play Under Pressure by Queen, and it's I can't even I don't even want to talk about it because you have to see it. It's so beautiful, and it's just I can't. I'm not gonna talk about it here. If you're going into this expecting a film, you're gonna be disappointed. It's a film in the idea that it's shot on cameras and played on a screen and acted by actors, written by a writer, but the emotions you feel as an audience come from how real it all is. It feels so real. It feels like it feels like life. And at the end of the day, it feels like an especially tragic life. And what you feel afterwards is what you'd feel if a best friend of yours had a tragic life. It'd be sad. The feelings you feel here are all genuine. They're all real feelings. And that's what I feel makes it so beautiful. It's all incredibly real and raw, and it's something unique. It's something I've never felt in a theater, and well, not in the theater, while looking back on it afterwards. As I've said, this film is what it is when you think about it. It literally becomes a memory in your own head, and that's when it hits you as this tangible work of art. Um, yeah, so the performances are great. The music is great, especially in that one scene. The entire thing is great. You won't fully appreciate it until it's over, but Aftersun is the most quietly understanding film about depression and love and what happens when responsibility falls upon someone dealing with some serious, serious stuff. So make sure to check it out whenever it comes out. It's truly, truly wonderful.